can hear you loud and clear. And I'm happy. Good evening, members, all the distributors. I want to welcome you this evening to our presentation. And about those who joined in the course of this month and those who have made some steps, I want to congratulate you. And as mentioned by our PTA, Pierros, my name is Reverend Dr. Simon Malusi. I'm a member of Near Life and at the level of director. And the biggest question is why did I join Neo Life, being a medic in my profession? And I'm very happy to say that I joined them because of health. As you know, our objective is to make the people healthier and happier. I knew when you have health, you can also be happy. Obvious, when you are unwell, you cannot be happy. So I attended a presentation, and this was after I had really rejected joining and even going for the presentation on several invitations, like many of us do. Because when I got the invitations, I thought I was being conned by the committee prisoners. Having been in Nairobi for a good time, I knew they always try to send the SMSs and so forth. And finally, just to please my fellow referent who had given my name and who had introduced me, who I now call him my angel, I just went to, so that I can please him. I attended a presentation, and at the end of it, I noted that despite of my status in the public and in the profession, I still needed health, and particularly for my daughter. My daughter who had been unwell. And after presentation, I started by taking in the provitality just to make myself the guinea pig. You know, scientists, we don't want just to follow things the way they are said. So after I used it for a month, I felt a lot of changes in my body. I was lighter than the usual. I found myself more active. And from that experience now, I said I can give my daughter the products who I started giving her a month thereafter. And to cut the long story short, she had been admitted at the Nairobi hospital 7 times with the 6 operations without getting any better. But after I introduced her to these products, the supplements, she was able within a short time to get well. And as we talk now, she's very well. She's working in fact, she has even been blessed with a young, beautiful girl. So I thank the products. I have worked in several institutions of health. And so when I was asked to talk about the immunity, it really reminded me of my very first time when I was called to go to the college and to be a lecturer there. My students, those who had left in first year, they were now third years, and they were preparing for their examination. And one of the things I told them is that we need to revise. They give me the topics they would want us to revise. And among them, the topic they said I start with was on immunity. So when I'm talking about immunity, I talk with a lot of excitement. And in particular, this time, the time of COVID, I think this is a presentation we cannot take for granted. It is very important. And that's why I would very excitedly want to invite all those who are on this call. We take a serious consideration of a few things that I'm going to talk about. So if you allow me, Hoping you cannot hear me, I would want to share my screen so that you are able to follow as I give the presentation. Now, the presentation is on immunity. I can see I'm sharing, and I just want to bring for you to be able to see. I want to bring slideshow. Let me see if it will work. All right. Okay, so our presentation is on the immunity program, and there are a few topics or subtopics that I'm going to cover because this is a very relevant topic at this particular time. I would cover briefly on introduction, and then I will give background information. The background information will include things like divination, then the types of immunity, and a few examples. Then I'll look at the factors that influence immunity. I will also look at the immunity suppressors. There are some things that when we engage ourselves in, we are likely to diminish our immune system. And I will look at the immunity boosters. What things can we do to make sure that our immunity is at par? And finally, I will look at the new life solution. In the introduction is that immunity is a very wide program, given that you have to teach it for a long time if we are to go into the conventional way of teaching. And for this time, you will allow me to be a bit brief and just give the background. At this time of worldwide pandemic of COVID-19, it is very relevant because most affected are those of lower immunity status, which could be due to age or the underlying healthy conditions and the poor dietary behaviors. When I talk of age, I will still talk of it slightly later, is that those of low age from below 7 years and those who are over 60 years are more prevalent to getting infected because they lose their immunity. Their immunity go down as the age catches up with them. Then what are the divinations? Immunity, we can divine it in two areas. One of them is the area of health, and then the other one is just a general immunity. And we say immunity in the general terms is a protection or exemption from something, especially an obligation or penalty. I'm sure we have all heard that a president is immune to prosecution so long as he is the president. That means he is exempted. There is an exemption. He has impunity. He has a freedom. You can't just take him as in that capacity of presidency. Also, some rebels are given immunity from prosecution for different reasons. Now, unfortunately, that is not the divination we are going to dwell on, but we will dwell on the next two. That is, immunity is the ability of an animal, including man, including you and me, to resist a particular infection, all toxin, all harm. E.g., you can be immune to typhoid. All of the immunity to typhoid seems to have increased spontaneously. Those are just examples. The ability to resist the infection. We have some synonyms like resistance to, or non-susceptibility to, or resilience to, or lack of susceptibility to. All these would mean the ability of an animal to resist a particular infection. And the last divination that that I would want to look at is the body's ability to prevent the invasion of disease or harmful objects. I've tried to simplify it because we are not doing medicine, and I would want us to be as simple and use the common terminologies. So having defined immunity, then we need to go to the area of the factors, all of the examples. Sorry, there are some few things that contribute to immunity, and quite a number of times they are associated. I'm sure we have heard of things like vaccination, the vaccines, immunization. All these are related to immunity because vaccination is the administration of a vaccine to help the immune system to develop protection from a disease. And when we talk of vaccine, what are the vaccines? The vaccines are substances that contain a disease-causing agent in a weakened, live or killed state. So when we are even talking of things like COVID, in fact, we have been given cells of COVID which have been weakened. When we talk of polio, we are inoculating people with the organism or the disease-causing agent of polio, but it has been weakened, all killed, such that when it comes in you, it will help the body to generate the protective devices. In the terminologies, we call them antibodies. And the vaccination is when a vaccine is administered to anybody, to you or to me. This is usually, when you talk of vaccination, it is usually by injection. When you are given it by mouth, it is called an inoculation. You are just given through inoculation. Then the terminology immunization is what happens in our body after we have been vaccinated, or when we have the vaccination. The vaccine stimulates our immune system so that it can recognize the disease and protect us from future infection. That is, we become immune to that infection for which we have been immunized against. Then we have several types of immunity. The first one is innate immunity. Innate immunity, you can simply call it natural. Everyone is born with a type of body protection. And this is just a type of a general protection. For instance, we have skin. Skin is a type of protection. We have some mucus. Sometimes, if you don't produce tears in your eyes, you may need to be given tears, because tears are also a type of innate or natural immunity. Then we have what we call adaptive immunity. Adaptive, this simply means that it has been acquired. You are not normally born with it. It is not natural, but you acquire it either from another source, or you acquire it through the vaccinations that I've talked about. And if it is adaptive immunity that is acquired, it can be either natural or artificial. We will be seeing a chart that would try to make it similar. When we talk of this is a type of immunity that develops throughout people's lives, either due to exposure or so. Both natural or artificial adaptive immunity can be active or passive. What do we mean by these terminologies, active or passive? An active immunity is an immunity which occurs when our own immune system is responsible for protecting us from a disease. That is, our immune system is either stimulated by the infection, or even by fascination, and it produces the protective agents. When we talk of passive, then we mean that this is a borrowed immunity. It has come from another source and is adapted, or it is passed into the source. And it's good to mention that such an immunity is not long lasting. For instance, we will be seeing some examples, but I want to present it here. The examples, sorry, the examples, I see they are going a bit high. Examples of immunity. I've talked of innate immunity, which I said is natural. I've given you examples like skin, tears, some mucus. Then adaptive immunity, which is acquired immunity, we said it can be natural. And when it is natural, then it can be passive. And this is like when the maternal antibodies are passed to the kid, like mother's milk. It has some antibodies that are acquired by the child before the child starts making his or her own antibodies to protect. Adaptive immunity acquired, then we say the active type is where there are infections. You have heard that if you are infected by things like mumps, you will not get mumps again. This is because your body, though it is artificial, it perceives the mumps as a protective prompting agent. And for that reason, you become immune. I've given you other examples of vaccinations. Therefore, adaptive artificial immunity, passive, this is transfer of already formed protective agents, like treatment of immunodeficiency disease. Even things like what we get after you are even hit by something, the one we say tetanus, that one you are just given antibodies. And that is why it is not long lasting. If you are hit today, you are given anti-tetanus. Tomorrow, all after 3 weeks, if you are hit again, you will still be given another one, because this is passive and it does not last long. This is just a graphical way of presentation where we are saying we have immunity, which can be innate. I said this is normally natural, and you get it throughout maybe skin or mucus, the tears. But acquired immunity, which is also called adaptive immunity, can be natural or can be artificial. When it is natural, then we have passive. And I gave examples of what is passed from the mother to the child, or it can be active, which you would acquire once you are infected by things like mumps and so forth. Then under the acquired or adaptive immunity, it can also be artificial. And artificial will be passive. This is an antibody transfer, like what I've talked about, even a snake bite, or even what I have already said you acquire during when you are being given a tetanus injection. Or it can be active, which you get through immunization, and your body is able to generate the protective agents. They're called antibodies. So I think having gone that far, we can now look at the factors that would influence your immunity. As I said from the introduction, age is very important. It plays a bigger role in the area of immunity. And I said that below 7 and above 60, we have low immunity. Why? Below 7, the child has not, or the person has not developed enough antibodies to protect the body. And then once you have gotten it, between 10 and 50 years, it is at its optimal. It is the maximum. I can see people like me and Mwesa, are trying to see where we lie. I'm sure we are between 10 and 50. And but when you again go above 60, some of the elements in our body that stimulate this immunity starts going down. Things like zinc, things like vitamin C, and therefore your immunity tends to go down. The other factor that would influence is race. There are some races who are immune to given diseases, while others are not. The other one is the environment. For instance, there are zones that we say they are malaria zones. There are people who live there tend to have more immunity to the malaria than the visitors. If we went to Mombasa and me from islands and somebody from Mombasa, that person may resist infection or would be more resistant to infection by malaria compared to me, who has come from zones where there is no malaria. Other things that would influence is stress. If you suffer from stress, it will, or when you are stressed, this will also interfere with the organisms or the organs in the body that tend to be responsible for the production of the resistance agents. And the last, which is not the least, is the lifestyle. One of them is the exercises. If you do not do exercises, you are likely to be more susceptible to infections than somebody who does exercise. Let me also give a precaution that these exercises, again, you are not supposed to do excessive, because once you do excessive, it also tends to interfere again with the immune system, and then the organs that are concerned will not be able to produce adequate. So we say moderation in exercise. Then the second, which is very common, is dietary, and the diet that we eat can positively or negatively influence immunity. For instance, a lot of alcohol and many other added drugs, they will affect negatively. In other words, they will lower your immunity. Then there are also some factors that suppress immunity. That is a lack of sleep. And you remember, we always emphasize that we should sleep at least 6 hours to 8 hours. Those of us who really don't take that seriously, this can easily suppress our immunity, because for our organs to perform maximally, they require that rest. Then other things, as I said about the stress, things like anxiety. Also, if you have low vitamin D in your body, which normally tends also to decrease as the age catches up, and also some medications. There are some medications which will interfere with the organs that produce the immune agents, and things like added drugs, they will easily lower and suppress your immunity. Then lack of adequate fruits. I know we have always emphasized on eating different types of fruits between 5 to 8. And obviously, very few of us eat this number. The current research is recommending 5 to 13 types of fruits and then vegetables. I am not sure how many are meeting this criteria. And here we are talking different types of fruits. And also, I was looking at banana, which is very common to us. And even from the definitions and explanations, they say banana is a carbohydrate. So those of us who eat one banana and you think it is one of the fruits you have eaten, please, you are only adding starch into your body. Having talked on all this, I want to look at the immune boosters, and without doing much, you'll find most of the immune boosters are either fruits or vegetables. And the challenge we have and the gap that we are creating is that we are not eating enough of this, regardless of our class. Even in a five-star hotel, you don't eat all these types of fruits and also vegetables. This means then there is always a gap. And it is this gap that would make us have low immunity status. And therefore, we need something to close, to fill in this gap. And this is where our products, the new life products, come into play. So I will briefly, before I close, look at the new life solution. And I'm very happy to say that in new life, we are able to supplement and fill the gaps that are left due to our poor dietary practices and also what we eat. And this is very clear from the slides that we have already gone through, because fruits and vegetables and other specific foods play a great role in filling in the gaps. Hence, boosting immunity. New life prides in providing nature-based and scientifically proven supplements which will fill these gaps. I would want to mention a few examples because the list is so long. There are some that I want to mention. The first one is the trenin. We need trenin because this is the basic. It will help even the intake of all the other nutrients. And at the same time, it will allow the normal functioning of our body cells, the trillions of the body cells that we have, such that it will not only absorb, but also it will be able to take out what has been used and what is not required. I don't think I need to go into a lot of details because this is a capsule. It has a diverse phytonutrient. It supports the vision nutrient utilization. That's what I've talked about. And it supports overall cardiovascular. And cardiovascular, those are things related to the heart. And then it is also able to supply essential lipids and steroids to promote the efficient functioning of cells. The second one is what New Life really prides in, the only patent immunity complex called the carotenoid complex. And this is a whole food supplement, which is derived from several vegetables, several fruits. Once you take carotenoid made by New Life, it will boost your health. It will boost your immunity by 37% in only 20 days. In fact, if we were all unmuted, we would clap for a New Life because of providing this very important immunity agent. The carotenoid also meets the recommended dietary intake of 5 to 13 servings of fruits and vegetables. Remember, somewhere when I was talking about the diet, I said we need to eat, normally we say 5 to 8 types of fruits, but the current research recommends up to 13. And this one, we get it very easily from the carotenoid complex. And once you use the packet of 90 capsules, it's like taking 115 kilograms of raw fruits and vegetables. So this is a product I would recommend If you do not have it, you better order it tomorrow. It will not only improve and boost your immunity, but it will also add to your points, PVs, as we near closing the month. I'm sure we all know tomorrow will be the last day, and therefore it is very important. It also reduces blood lipids oxidation and prevents the oxidation of the cellular bodies. We know when there is oxidation, it's like rusting our organs. And obviously, any rusted object cannot perform as it ought to perform. And it was, and still is, one of the very useful products that is given to the HIV patients because it is good for boosting of their body immunity. The product number 3 is chelated zinc. I'm sure we all know chelated. We say that chelated because they have an amino acid molecules which is around it or which cover it, which promotes and improves the absorption. It is good because it supports general body growth, development, and it has very high immunity effects. It also helps to repair body cells, thus enhancing recovery processes. So you find chelated zinc, you will not, once you use it, as you boost your immunity, it also helps in recovery processes. Like if you are hurt, if you have a wound or something like that, or other infections, it will really enhance. It also activates metabolism of vitamins, and particularly vitamin A, and these are also required for our immunity. It is a good antioxidant, and it also enhances carbohydrates metabolism. We cannot overstress the importance of carbohydrates in our bodies because this is what generates energy. Then the fourth one is cruciferous plus. This one is made of several cruciferous vegetables, things like broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, collard greens, and so on. All these are good for our health, well-being. It also helps to protect the cells and increase the cell's ability to protect themselves. Here is that by itself is helping to protect the cells. And at the same time, it makes the cells become more active to produce the required protective agents. It is also good for cancer cases. So people who are being treated under chemotherapies and the rest, they also should take a lot of cruciferous plus because it is good. And finally, it has a substance called sulforaphane, which would help to neutralize many aggressive and damaging agents. These are the disease-causing agents. Just before I finish, there is a Bitterguard. This one, Bitterguard offers important nutritional protection. It is rich in important vitamins like C, E, and B. It has both the antioxidant and the detoxifying, the ability to remove the toxins, nutrients, which help the body neutralize and metabolize the toxic material. So if you want to detoxify, Bitterguard is very good. And in this context, it will also help our immune system. It also defends the body against harmful agents which are found in the environment, like in air, in water, and other pollutants that may be in the environment. Like those of us who are living in Nairobi with all these exhaust pipes, gas in our cars and so forth, Bitterguard would play a major role to defend us from the harmful agents. When we talk of harmful agents, they could be bacteria, they could be diseases, There could be even hair that may interfere with our normal body functionalities. It helps to detoxify foreign substances which are ingested or inhaled. It is recommended that at least you use a bitter guard at least once a year. And second to the last, I believe, before we look at the other one is the flavonoids. And we have the composition here where all cranberries, the kale, the green tea. When we talk of green tea, is the tea that has been decaffeinated. It doesn't have the caffeine. It has beets, it has elderberries, red and black grapes, oranges, lemons, and grapefruit. It has vitamin C, which enhances absorption. Flavonoids are also water-soluble antioxidants and are usually found in fruits, in vegetables, in tea, and in wine. And when we are talking of tea, we are talking of the green tea, which also New Life provides it. Then they also contribute to reduce risks to our overall well-being, as well as antioxidants protection of our body fluids. We know our bodies are made up of so many fluids, so they are protected by the flavonoids. And they are also known to protect the body organs, particularly the intestines and the liver. Phytodefense, it is a combination of three, that is carotenoids, which I've talked about, flavonoids, and cruciferous. And these are normally termed as the phytonutrients. Each daily pack contains 3 capsules of carotenoid complex, 2 tablets of flavonoid complex, and 1 tablet of cruciferous plus. This makes phytodefense a more effective when consumed together, rather than when you take the carotenoid by itself, then later the next order you take the flavonoid and the cruciferous. So I would recommend, if you have not met your target in terms of PVs, go for phytodefense. It will not only add your points, it will not only add your cash, but also it will give you a very effective protection. It combats the oxidative damages to the cells, and it offers significant benefits against many major threats to our general health. It will definitely support healthy cellular development, healthy immune response, and contributes to maintaining the optimal hormonal activity. I think this is one other thing that makes the New Life products very good, because one product can apply across the board. Now, when we are talking of phytodefense, we are even talking of the optimal hormonal activity, which means it does not just work on the immunity alone. It plays major roles. And finally, we have vitamin C, which can be chewable or released. I don't want to talk much on this because there is so much we can talk of. There is vitamin C sustained release. That is, once you take it, the ingredients are released slowly into the body, that giving maximum utilization. Or you can also use the chewable all C. It's very nice. I always have a bottle of it throughout because it is very good for our immunity system. It is a powerful antioxidant and an integral part of the body's antioxidant defense team. Immune system, blood vessel system, brain systems, all these are activated so well by vitamin C. And then it helps in the regeneration of the reduced form of vitamin E. The body's main fat-soluble vitamin. Vitamin C is also water-soluble. It's water-soluble. That means it can be stored in the body for long, and it requires constant daily replenishment. It provides vitamin C, as the name goes, and you can choose either to take the chewable or the SR, that is the sustained release. It also helps in connective tissue formation and cell protection from the free radical damage. We have so many radical things within our bodies, or even from the environment, and the vitamin C will help to protect you. It is also good for wound repair and also iron absorption. We know iron is very good even for the making of blood, things like hemoglobin. I've talked so much. These products, most of them are applicable to adults, the people above 12 years, but we also have products that we can use for our children who are below 12 years. And just before I go to this, I would also want to mention it's not in the slide, that the coenzyme 10, CoQ10, is also a good product in the area of immunity. So CoQ10, you can also use it. For the children, you can use omega-3 salmon oil plus. You can use the squares, the Vita square, which also contains trenin. You can use the VitaGuard, which has the carotenoid and the flavonoids. You can also use liquefied, which has trenin, carotenoid, and flavonoids. This is good for children between 6 months and 3 years, and also for elderly people who may not be able to swallow the other products that I have talked about. And with that, I think, sorry, I think I've taken a bit of 3 or 4 extra minutes. I bring my presentation to the end and encourage all of us to use these products, particularly if we want to be free or to protect ourselves from COVID-19, which is rampant, and there is rumor that another type is coming in. So let's protect ourselves. We can only protect ourselves by taking these products, which will help to fill the gaps that we do not meet from our natural dietary substances. Otherwise, thank you very much for listening to me. And I believe I have not checked if there are any questions. If they are there, we may answer them later. If not today, another day. I want to take it back to our PT to invite our next speaker. Thank you very much. Have a good evening with a lot of immunity products, because they will also contribute to your earning. The more you have them, the more points, obvious, the more money. Thank you. PT, can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you very much, Daktari. That was really elaborate from you. I'm sure we have really learned a lot, and now we can really do away with this menace of Corona by using all these wonderful products. So because of time, I'm just going to take the presentation to our next speaker to give us the next presentation. So I want to welcome all the way in Kericho, our upcoming president team member, that is Redempta Cherotich, to take over.
Thank you very much, Pieros, president team member, for this opportunity to speak to us this evening from Kericho. My name, like you've heard, is Redempta Cherotich. I'm very excited to be a member of New Life family and specifically Superstars team, led by President team members Pieros and Josephat, who also happen to be my sponsors, my upline directors. I am a civil servant, so I do this business part-time. And I've been in this business from 27 September 2014, for those who are here for the very first time. And I joined because I needed extra money. Being a civil servant, the pay was not enough to run me through the month. So when I came through this opportunity, I decided to take it up immediately. I'm a mother of 5. I'm also married to one Mr. Koech, who we joined this business together, and I've been enjoying the benefits of New Life, both the health, the wealth, and the lifestyle. I'm sure all of you were promised that when you joined, and we've been able to enjoy all that in our home. Thank you, Mr. Malusi, Dr. Malusi, for the great presentation. When I joined, I didn't think of health. But when I came in, I realized that health is more important than anything else. So today, I'm going to take us through the topic of incentives, that is using incentives to build our business. I will not screen share like Dr. Malusi, but I have notes written down, which I will share with you. And what is an incentive? An incentive is something that motivates or encourages an individual to perform an action. It can also be a payment to stimulate greater output or investment. Let me take us back to the recent occurrences like the release of KCSE results. We all remember one Mr. Simiyu Robinson Wanjala, who was the best student in the country. He was given an incentive of 50,000 Kenya shillings ahead of the sitting of the exams. And he was told that he's going to get that post-dated check if he becomes the best student in the country. So that motivated him to work extra hard. It motivated him because he had a goal to become #1 and win the 50,000 Kenya shillings. So just the same way, we have incentives in our New Life business. We have the company incentives, and we have incentives that we have set as a team. So the ones that are for the company are in the compensation plan. Remember, we are paid bonuses. And for the company to pay us, they have to be informed by a document called the compensation plan. So New Life have the best incentives. For example, we have quite a number of incentives. I'll give you a few examples. They include, but they are not limited to the ones I'll mention. They are not limited because the company keeps reviewing those incentives from time to time. You remember there was this one of opening the window with 250 coins and you become director. Now it has lapsed. Be on the lookout for the new one, which will be unveiled anytime as the company will decide from time to time. So the first one of the company is the 3 in 30 star, whereby you are asked to recruit at least 3 people every month, sponsor them, bring them into the business, show them what to do. And it is the surest way of building our business, because when you bring in 3 people, it means they'll do points for themselves and also for which will have an effect on your pay. So the 3 in 30 pin is very important. When you do 3 in 30 for the first month, you get a pin, a 3 in 30 pin. There is the 2 star, that is when you repeat. When you repeat up to the 6th time, you're called a superstar. Instead of calling you a 5 star, there is 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, 4 star, and then there is superstar. And every star is accompanied with a pin and an incentive. When you become a 4 star, for example, you get a folder. When you become a superstar, you get a bag and a cup, a beautiful cup branded Neolife, like the one I have here. It's branded Neolife and a bag to travel. So that is the first incentive. There is the qualified senior manager incentive, where you get free products. A qualified senior manager is someone who does at least 1,000 points with the team. Yourself and your team, you get 1,000 points cumulative for the month. Then you are called a qualified senior manager and you get free products. For now, we have an incentive running where you get 2 botanical balance products. And in fact, when you get that, you get to save at least 4,780 Kenya shillings. Then there is the other incentive, which is very exciting, the travel incentive. When you become a world team, that is a Sapphire director, a Ruby director, all the way to president team member, you win the travel incentive. Travel incentive involves traveling across the world. I remember I traveled to Cape Town in the year of 2017, February, and it is very exciting to travel. This week, the world team members will be in Dubai. Yes. We also have the Diamond Lifestyle, where the president team members travel. I remember the last time our president team members traveled to Mexico, and they had dinner with the founder and his wife on the same table. That is very exciting. There is also the consistency dinner. Usually when we have the East African Convention, the world team benefit from being invited to have a dinner with the company. So it is very exciting to have those incentives. We also have the director incentive. When you become a director, obviously you get recognized. The first incentive is recognition. Then you get an executive folder. That folder is not found in the local shops. It even has a calculator where you're going to calculate your PVs to see whether you have reached 4,000, 5,200 or way above. So that folder is executive. You can meet someone, even your downline in town, and you can calculate their PVs because you have the folder with a calculator. So those are the incentives. There is the Emerald Director incentive. Remember, our Emerald Directors will be traveling to Mombasa for leadership school. Usually they take the world team, but this time around they have changed, and they even want the Emerald Directors to benefit from the leadership school. So you become an Emerald Director, you get to train in the leadership school. You also get to earn 6,800 for as long as you're confirming at title. As long as every other month you do 4,000 points and above, meaning you're confirming at title. And then there is you become a brand new Sapphire Director. The company gives you 50,000 Kenya shillings. Imagine. Apart from your bonus check, they give you 50,000 Kenya shillings and you get to travel. I believe at the end of this presentation, all of us will be going for higher pins, because when you now even go higher and become a One Ruby Director, the company gives you $1,000 Huh? $1,000, that's 100,000 Kenya shillings kwa hii uchumi ya sahi. Apart from your bonus check, and you also get a travel incentive for Ruby orientation at Santon Sun Hotel in South Africa, fully paid with your partner. Hapo stress itapungua. So let us aim to get those incentives. There are so many. The company gives us incentives from time to time, and they keep revising for the better. So be on the lookout, because they have flyers. Every time they have to revise those incentives, they produce flyers which will inform us of what to work for. We also have team incentives. These are incentives that are set up by your upline director or your sponsor. And they are not obliged, they are not forced to give you, or they are not told that they must give, but they give out of will and love for their team. Like, for example, in our Superstars team, when you become a brand new director, you get to have dinner at a 5-star hotel with your partner, fully paid for. All you have to do is go there with your appetite. I remember when I became a brand new director, nilishona kitenge, informed my husband about the upcoming dinner, and we were there before time so that we would sample every other meal that was set for the day. So become a brand new director and you win dinner. Also get 10,000 Kenya shillings from our president team members. Yes, 10,000 Kenya shillings apart from your bonus check, which will not be less than 50,000 Kenya shillings. That's a lot of money. Become a director and enjoy the incentive. You become a Sapphire director in our Superstars team. Our president team members will pay for dinner, bed, and breakfast with your partner. And imagine, get cash, 20,000. When you're through with the lifestyle, you take shopping back home. I don't know who would resist such an offer. So let us work towards those incentives. And you should also have personal incentives with the people you're bringing into the business. I remember when I joined, when someone below us would sponsor, they would get 200 Kenya shillings. It may look very little, but it is an incentive. 200 Kenya shillings is enough money to buy bundles for such a meeting. So let us have the incentives at any level. Bringing in somebody is a plus. So bring those people and get the incentives. There are incentives that are running currently, where you have that the company is running currently, which I want us to take advantage of and also boost our PVs. Like when you are a distributor, if you step up to senior manager or manager level, the company gives you 1 botanical balance, which you can sell and get 5,820 Kenya shillings. You can also use and boost your immunity. You can also use, if you have issues with blood sugar, it will stabilize your blood sugar. So that is one for distributors. If you're a qualified manager, just achieve 500 points with your team, sponsor 2 people personally, and let those 2 people do a minimum of 100 points. The company will comfortably give you 1 botanical balance. 1 botanical balance, and it's amazing. You can still get that 5,820 if you sell it. For senior managers, maintain your qualification at title. When you're a QSM, that is, have 1,000 QPV, 1,000 points with your team. Also sponsor 2 new people. Now, when you're a QSM, even the incentive is better. You get 2 botanical balance, 2 bottles of botanical balance. You can imagine. So let us go for those incentives. Let us sponsor people. Let us make the points and win the incentives. The incentives are the way to go. They make us work towards a goal. So in the interest of time, I'd beg to stop there. There is so much. Be on the lookout. Attend our meetings. Do your 3 in 30. Do your 100 personal plus, because 100 points is basically for using the products. If you're in business, you'll do more than 100, because for 100 you'll use, you will eat, you will wash with it, you'll use it on your farm. But if you are to be in business, then you have to do at least over 100 points. Thank you very much for listening to me this evening. I take it back to the PTs to take us through the recognition. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much, Redempta, for that wonderful session. We really